For thousands of years, humanity has looked up at the night sky and asked the same question: are we alone in the universe? Beyond the stars that illuminate our nights, we now know there are millions of planets. Yet among all those possibilities, one world has always captured our imagination more than any other: Mars. Covered in crimson dust, this barren planet has lived in our myths as the realm of gods, and in our science fiction as the home of alien civilizations. In human culture, Mars has always been a symbol of mystery, danger, and possibility. Perhaps that is why, when telescopes were first turned toward its surface, people claimed to see canals, structures, and maybe traces of life. Today, our tools are far beyond the old telescopes. Rovers crawl across its desolate landscapes. Sensors probe beneath its surface. Supercomputers process the data sent from millions of kilometers away. Humanity has never studied Mars this closely. And now NASA has made an announcement that echoes across the scientific world and beyond. They may have found signs of life. This is not just another scientific report. It is a potential turning point in the history of our species. Because if Mars once hosted life, or if it still does, then one undeniable truth emerges: Earth is not unique. Life may not be confined to our fragile blue planet. So, what does this mean? Will this discovery redefine our beliefs, our philosophies, even our very identity as humans? If life exists on Mars, how many other worlds might be alive across the vastness of space? Before we can answer those questions, we need to look closer at NASA's groundbreaking announcement. NASA's press conference shook the scientific world like an earthquake. This was not just the announcement of another discovery. It was the first serious response to one of humanity's greatest questions. The possibility of signs of life on Mars was no longer a rumor or a dream. It was now supported by scientific evidence.
A year ago, we found a sample and reanalyzed it. Just like on Earth, where there are rivers and lakes, we think we might see signs of ancient life on Mars. A year ago, we thought we'd found signs of microbial life on the Martian surface. We sent it to our scientists to pressure test it and analyze it and say, did we get it right? Do we think this is signs of ancient life on Anthem? After a year of analysis, they came back and said, look, we couldn't find any other explanation. So, this might be the clearest sign of life we've ever found on Mars.
And today we're showing you how we're one step closer to answering one of humanity's deepest questions. Are we truly alone in the universe?
At the center of the announcement were the findings. From the Perseverance rover, the rover has been exploring the Jezero crater, an ancient basin believed to have once held a vast lake. By analyzing rock and soil samples, it detected chemical signatures, known as organic molecules, the building blocks of life. These molecules were carbon-based, sharing striking similarities with the fundamental chemistry of living organisms on Earth. NASA scientists explained cautiously, "We cannot yet say that life exists on Mars, but the data we have shows strong indications that life could have been possible here." This statement, though carefully worded, carried a profound message. The possibility of Martian life has never been more real. Adding to the intrigue were the methane readings recorded in the crater. At certain times, methane levels spiked mysteriously. On Earth, most methane in the atmosphere is produced by biological processes, tiny microorganisms beneath the surface. Could Mars be hiding something similar beneath its crimson soil? Skeptics were quick to respond. Some argued that these organic molecules in methane emissions could be explained by purely geological activity. Mars, after all, was once a volcanically active planet. It is possible that chemical reactions within its rocks might mimic the signatures of life. But even if the explanation is geological, it still reveals critical new insights about Mars's history and environment. Following NASA's announcement, the same question echoed across the globe. Does this mean there is life on Mars? The answer remains uncertain. Yet the message was clear. Humanity now faces the strongest evidence, yet that we may not be alone in the universe. Why is all this so important? Because the discovery of potential signs of life on Mars is not just about another planet, it's about redefining humanity's place in the universe. For centuries, we believed we were special. The idea that life exists only on Earth was central to our science, our religions, and even our philosophies. But if Mars once hosted even the tiniest microbial life, that belief crumbles. Earth would no longer be the sole cradle of life. Instead, we would have to accept that the universe is far richer, far more diverse than we ever imagined. This discovery could launch a new golden age of science. If life can exist or once existed on Mars, then it could also exist on countless other worlds scattered across the stars. Astrobiologists, astronomers, chemists, and explorers would all pursue the same burning question: where else can life be found? And how can we detect it? But it's not only about science. The impact would ripple across culture, religion, and society itself. For some, the realization that we are not alone would be deeply inspiring, a sign that life is universal. For others, it could be unsettling, even frightening. If life exists beyond Earth, the next question becomes unavoidable. Could it communicate with us? Or has it already? There is also an ethical dilemma. If Mars harbors life, even in the form of tiny microbes, then what? Right? Do we have to colonize and exploit the planet? Humanity's dream of building cities on Mars could come into conflict with the responsibility of protecting alien ecosystems. Should we safeguard them or risk destroying them in the name of exploration? In the end, NASA's announcement is far more than a scientific update. It is a turning point, a mirror held up to humanity, forcing us to rethink who we are and where we stand in the cosmos. If life exists on Mars, then this is not just the story of a distant world. It is the beginning of a new chapter in our own story. NASA's announcement sent shockwaves through the scientific community. Almost immediately, researchers, journalists, and social media users around the world were asking the same question: does this truly mean there is life on Mars? Some scientists responded with excitement. If these organic molecules and fluctuating methane levels are indeed biological in origin, this could be one of the most important discoveries in human history, said one researcher. To them, this was nothing short of a turning point. A few even suggested this might be the very first tangible evidence of extraterrestrial life, but others urged caution. Many experts argued that the data should not be rushed into conclusions. Mars, they reminded, was once a volcanically active planet. Organic molecules and methane gas could just as easily be produced by geological processes. In other words, while the findings were fascinating, they were not definitive proof of life. One researcher from the European Space Agency put it bluntly: these molecules could indeed be signs of life, but they might also be the product of ordinary chemical reactions. At this point, nothing is certain. NASA itself chose very careful wording. During the press conference, the statement was clear: we cannot yet say this is life, but we can say the evidence is growing. These words tempered expectations while also underscoring the seriousness of the discovery. In the world of science, such debates are not unusual. When a groundbreaking claim is made, different disciplines weigh in with their own perspectives. This tension is not a weakness. It is the very strength of the scientific process. Some are eager to embrace NASA's findings, while others demand more experiments, more data, and more time. What is undeniable, however, is that the conversation has begun. Labs across the world are now analyzing the data. Telescopes are being redirected, and researchers are scrutinizing every detail. In the coming months, new evidence may emerge, or existing data may be explained in entirely different ways. But one thing is certain: this debate is already shaping up to be one of the most exciting chapters in the history of science. NASA's announcement did more than spark scientific debate. It reignited humanity's oldest dream, the dream of reaching beyond Earth and finding our place among the stars. The possibility of life on Mars is no longer confined to the pages of science fiction. It is becoming a tangible scientific reality. We now stand at a crossroads in human history. If traces of life do exist on Mars, this discovery will not only reshape our understanding of biology but also force us to confront a much deeper question. Are we truly alone in the universe? Or perhaps, if life emerges naturally wherever the right conditions exist, then Earth may only be the beginning, not the exception. The answers may come in the decades ahead, as humanity prepares for manned missions to the Red Planet. SpaceX, NASA, and the European Space Agency are no longer just pointing telescopes toward Mars. They are building rockets to take us there. The first plans for permanent colonies on Martian soil are already on the table. But if life is confirmed, even microscopic, those colonies will face profound challenges. How will Martian microbes interact with Earth organisms we bring with us? What ethical responsibilities will we have toward alien ecosystems? This is not just a scientific issue, it is a philosophical, moral, and cultural turning point for our species. One thing is certain, the evidence revealed by NASA has forever changed how we see the sky. When we look at Mars now, we don't just see a distant red dot. We see the possibility of neighbors, of kinship, of connection across the void of space. Perhaps Mars will be the first step in proving that life is not unique to Earth, but a natural part of the cosmos. And maybe, just maybe, this discovery will bring us closer to answering humanity's oldest question. Who are we? And where do we belong in the universe? The echoes from Mars are not just for scientists. They are for all of us. This story doesn't end here. In truth, it has only just begun.